Now, get ready to talk hockey. Streaming from the Oilers Live studio. Subscribe or follow today.
Hey, it's Michael here for another edition of Oilers Live Tuesday. I've got as my guest Mr. Kirk Morris, one of our writers from Heavy Hockey Network, one of our podcasters from Heavy Hockey Network, one of everything, one of our guests, just a good guy, come to join us, talk a little bit of Oilers hockey tonight after an exciting 4-2 win for the Oilers, in which Connor McDavid gets his 800th point. Draisaitl gets his 700th, a little come from behind action. And there we go. I mean, the Oilers are back in it and tied really for third, although they've got Kings of a game in hand, but a really tight Pacific division. Welcome, Kirk, to the show. Happy to have you.
Happy to be here as always, man.
Yeah. I think, of course, every Tuesday we get on here and do, a little bit of Oilers talk live. Sometimes it's post game. Sometimes it is just talk about what happened. I don't know if you knew you were going to be on the show earlier, and after that second period, I was expecting a little bit of a different spirit to this discussion today, and I would say throughout these, look, the Oilers aren't off the hook, and I want to get your thoughts on this. But through two periods, the Philadelphia Flyers come out leading 2-1. They're on the back end of a back-to-back. They are without one of their best guys in Konechny. Look, they're not a great team. They're 24th in the league, I believe. The Oilers couldn't get anything going, and then the little details, right? The Cody Ceci pass, if you want to call it a pass, the wraparound goal, even for that matter. Skinner, with a little bit of a, I don't know. I mean, you're a goalie guy. He just wasn't prepared for that, and Draisaitl as well. Poor defensive effort on that. I thought after two periods we were going to have a much different discussion. I didn't think I'd be in as great a mood as I am right now. But I don't want to give them a pass. I want to be happy, obviously, about the game. I thought they came out in the third. They did what they needed to do. Devon Shore bled for the Oilers and gave us that 4-minute power play, which ended up being the difference. But this Oilers team has got to work on the little details, those little things, those momentary lapses, if you will. Like what? What causes that? I mean, do you have any thoughts? And I mean, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the game? Tell me the whole game story. That's kind of I love the game, happy about it, but my thoughts are first two periods really scare me, which it's been that way for the Oilers all year.
Yeah, it was kind of like a replay of last week when they're in Philly, and no shots. I thought the game overall, like for the first two periods, was very stifling, very boring, not much. The shot totals were way down.
Yeah.
But yeah, just they were just on the ice nonchalantly, like no overall, gumption in their skating, and they were. I hate to say it, but I thought Philadelphia for the first two periods, they, for the most part, anyways, they shut down the slot. There was no slot passes being made, and man-to-man coverage was awesome. I thought they were going to walk away with a win. I tweeted about it. I said the dump and chase game isn't working for the Oilers, and it it was just wash, rinse, and repeat. Chuck the puck in deep there and try to grab it, and Philly was right on top of them. And then just that, like you said, that penalty there, that double minor there, Shore drew there, blood and all, literally bled for the team, and that goal brought him back to life, and then they were off to the races all over again. Just they all of a sudden remembered how to play hockey. You know, just
Yeah,
it's just
and McDavid put it in overdrive, right?
yeah.
Like he seemed like he wasn't going to take no for an answer tonight.
There was a couple times there where, you know, just bad puck luck, you know, there like that little shot there from McDavid there beating Carter Hart and rang off the inside of the
Yeah.
post. Like if they had no bad luck, they have no luck at all, you know, just and then started of the third, there, same thing, you know, Darnell Nurse took a shot from the point and rang it off the crossbar. Just and he'd be looking up at the sky like, why? You know, just anything, you know, just like I said, to breathe life into the team.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we could talk about puck luck all night, though. I mean, this is an Oilers team that, yeah, for past three games prior, right? I mean, there's been, no puck luck. They, woulda, shoulda, coulda, right? At the end of the day, that no nobody cares if you don't make the playoffs or if you don't go very far. You never remember that team that didn't have very good puck luck. You just you just think, oh man, like this is a team that's not getting it going. But hey, look, they've scored 4 goals seemingly every night. They came out
Yeah,
and scored another 4 tonight, and they're getting offense. Lots of discussion about what Ken Holland's going to do as we near the trade deadline. Just under 2 weeks away. Tonight, a little bit more Carlson talk again. At one point, and then it kind of ebbs and flows. Yesterday, I think the word on the street was the Oilers weren't going to go for a defenseman now. They were going to go, I think that's brought on by Saravalli. They're going to go for a forward because they couldn't get one done. And then I watch a game like tonight and I think, man, everybody could use a Cale Makar, but we could really use a guy that gets the puck up the ice in a hurry,
play
right?
driver. Yeah,
Yeah, like a guy that either passes it up the ice or can move it up the ice. That's Erik Karlsson, 100%.
yep.
I think we expected maybe by this point for it to be Evan Bouchard. I don't know. Maybe that's asking a little too much. Yeah, maybe Tyson Berry. I know who it's not. It's not Darnell Nurse and it's not Cody Ceci.
Yeah, Cody
And I
Cece's good at tossing pizzas.
yeah, and I love Nurse. Like I'm a Nurse fan. I'll say it, but he's not the guy for that.
Yeah,
Right. And tonight, like this is the kind of play that you got to get around come playoff time. Right. This is the exactly the stifling type of D that you're going to be up against in the playoffs, and we just don't have the D men to. It's not gonna. There's not going to be a lot of 4-minute power plays in the playoffs. You're lucky if you're going to, get 4 minutes of power play time total.
because every team out there knows that their power play is deadly. I think they get 2 for the night there or 3 for the night, but
2 for the
yeah,
night.
2,
Yeah,
2,
and a
yeah,
shorty.
and there you go, yeah, the
McDavid
good old
shorty
flea flicker there from Connor, yeah.
surrounded by 6 guys.
Yeah. No, it's the other part, like I said there before, just no urgency. And you mentioned at playoffs, you know, it's gonna be a completely different story. Everybody's gonna be coming and running at you, you know, and maybe it takes until the trade deadline until they actually make a move where, yeah, okay, now we gotta put our work boots on and you know, grab our lunch kit and away we go, you know. So yeah, no, I didn't watch I have a confession to make. I didn't watch the game there on Sunday. I had prior engagements there, but from what I've seen there in the chat there and the highlights afterwards, it was just can't hold the lead. You know, just it was almost like Friday night, just repeated.
Yeah, I think teams get stuck in a mindset. It's a mental game, right? Where they they come into a game like that, and for a while there it was the 2-goal lead, and sadly now it's the 3-goal lead that seems to be the problem. Part of me was almost happy that the Flyers came out and scored first tonight. I thought, well, you can't blow a lead if you don't have one.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they come from behind win. Uh, I think it's a mental thing, right? And I think this, if I had here's a couple things. As I listen to a lot of NHL media around the league, not just Oilers stuff. I listen to everything. A lot of good things being said about the Oilers lately, believe it or not.
Yep.
Right? Like, it pains. I feel like it pains NHL media to say something good about the Oilers. But even we heard about it in the second intermission today. Fellow on Sportsnet, I can't remember his name. I mean, he said, maybe like either the Oilers or Vegas coming out of the Pacific Division, right? And so here, the Oilers are finally getting talked about. And it's, the strength of course, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, a couple of these guys. We see what happens when Kane's out. But the challenge that I have is some of this stuff needs to be muscle memory for these guys.
Yep.
Those passes, from Cody Ceci, the wraparounds, the defense, look, none of us are out there hanging out with when the Oilers are practicing, except for a few media guys around the Oilers. And I'm really curious. I'm curious what's going on in terms of this team. Like I love the free flow, with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, but I just feel like it's got to end at that point, right? Like everybody else better be doing drills, better be, like I feel like if this was Tortorella's team, he'd have them, shooting at the shooter tutor until their hands bled.
Yep.
And then making passes to a stick man until they couldn't hold the stick anymore. But and don't get me wrong, I'm not criticizing Woody because I love Woodcroft. I think he's done great with this team. But on the same token, I feel like these little details. If something kills us this year, that's what it's going to be.
And when he came to the team there literally a year ago, that was the one thing that he kind of emphasized on was the details. And it kind of sound like a broken record all over again, but it just seems like either they're tuning out the coach or I don't know. I'm not privy to the room like anybody else here, but just it makes you wonder like what they're thinking prior to the game. Like it just I don't know.
Now,
Couldn't
having
really
said
tell you.
all of that, though, we neglect to say that their record in their past 16, 17 games is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No doubt about it. Yeah.
They're winning the games they're supposed to win, right? For the most part.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah. 4-1-5 in the last 10, but that means, only one of those games without points, right?
Yep.
Points in 9
Silver
of 10.
linings. Yep.
I always wondered, why the Oilers were so shitty at getting loser points. Turns out they've been pretty good at it lately, much to my chagrin. I look at Calgary, who really their record is 26-31.
Yep.
Right. I mean they're the king of the loser point.
Yeah.
Right. And the Oilers just in recent years haven't been successful at getting the game to overtime and just ensuring that extra point. The challenge for me is the way they're doing it. They're not getting the game to overtime. They're sticking it out until it gets to overtime. They're getting that early lead and then sitting there. But hey, look, let's celebrate tonight what the Oilers have done well because they did just come off of a win. Power play just rolling, like
Mhm.
absolutely rolling. We've got a guy, for those of you that don't know, Ragu, at Raj Bauer on Twitter. He's I always get a kick out of Ragu because he complains about the Oilers power play despite it being one of the best power plays ever, right?
Yep.
And I get what he's saying. He's not complaining in the sense that, look, it's not the best power play. He's complaining in that, he feels like he's watching it get stale for the most part. And in the last couple of games, I think we've seen a few new looks, right? Nuge is seemingly wandering a little bit more. But if you check out the YouTube channel, and we noticed this tonight, but check out Heavy Hockey on YouTube. And our guy Josh Bolton did a review of the Oilers power play. I don't know if you had a chance to watch it yet, Kirk,
No, but I
but
saw it there when I was kicking in here. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, he points out the importance of Nuge on this power play. I titled the video "RNH stirs the drink," and I got to tell you, look, I love Connor McDavid. I love Leon Draisaitl. Those guys sure are exciting to watch. But you give that puck to Nuge, and he just seems to do the right thing with it, with the tape-to-tape pass. And I think he's getting the credit he deserves this year. He's certainly getting it on the stat sheet, but I'd almost even say he's a little bit underrated.
No,
Is that safe to say? Is he?
Oh, for sure. Like when he got injured or late last year, just how much that power play lagged because he was the go-to guy. He was the distributor. Like and sometimes, and I noticed this year especially, he'll take the puck right in on net and shoot it. Like he never did that in the past. He wanted to, and that was one of the things he commented on there at the start of the year. He said, "Yeah, I want to shoot more." And it's shown there in spades. I think he's he's definitely on his way to record totals, period. Points, assists, and
Yeah,
whatnot.
he hit
It's just
70 points tonight. I
yeah,
think that's his personal best.
yeah,
What's great is we've all been watching Nuge since he entered the league. As Oilers fans, we have been, and I remember he was almost immediately put on the top power play unit. And I remember at the time, of course, that's back in the days of Eberle and Hall and and that group. And I remember watching them in a Battle of Alberta game and thinking, oh, I'm gonna love this guy on the power play for how many years. And then, of course, that enthusiasm quickly waned until Connor McDavid came around. And this is where this. Do Oilers fans appreciate that we're watching one of the best power plays of all time? Like these guys, I mean, I think they do because you can't help but just like almost if they don't score, you're disappointed, right? That like because it just feels like a sure thing. Scoring with 6 seconds left and the power play coming up. I'll be honest. I thought there was a chance, and sure enough, there was. Right? Very
oh yeah,
Barry throws it in the net. I mean, that's how many power plays in the league have that type of firepower? Well, none, right? And very few have of all time. This is we're here for it. This is we're finally getting the offense out. I mean, we've always had the offense, but this team is getting wicked offense.
oh yeah.
Yeah, top in the league, like top in the league. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no doubt. No, it's hearing Stauffer talk today on Oilers now, and he's still stirring the drink there on Patrick Kane, and
Yeah. You see that slap shot tonight, by the way?
No, I did not.
Okay, make sure before you head to bed tonight, make sure you check out his overtime slapper.
I heard all I seen the notification on my phone said it got denied because it ran out of time. So.
It did, but it was still pretty wicked. Anyway, sorry. Go on, Stafford.
No, I was just gonna say, Stafford was once again there, and he was talking to Sarah Valley, and going back and forth, back and forth. Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? And once again, like I think it was the night before last. I think it was on Sunday night when Chicago blew the doors off of Toronto there, and he was asked once again. Just he's got. I imagine he's getting sick of it now. Every team, every top team that he plays, and they the team that he wants to go to gets another guy. Just so I. I really hope that I know Colin's probably going to come down to the wire. He's just going to go, okay, gonna wait it out there, see what I can get. You wait it out and get it offered. I do like, and I don't have to pay hand over fist for prospects and picks.
Yeah.
I still think it's going to be Carlson. And once again, like I read there on Twitter there tonight on my feed, that Scuttlebutt once again is ramping up on him. So I hope that we do, because we need more defense if anything else. If you're gonna get an elite player, I know the contract is nasty, but geez, man, like the time is now.
Well, if you can get San Jose to retain enough of it, or look at how Toronto was creative and in getting the O'Reilly contract, that's where there's a will, there's a way, so to speak. My challenge is still as I've always maintained, is Ken Holland isn't the most creative when it comes to trades, and this needs to be a creative trade. And so I think, look, I would love to see it. I have some concerns about it. It's Carlson, and he's this is the first year that he's played this many games in a number of years. But hey, look, if he can play enough games to make a sizable difference on this team for this season into next season, and it's the difference maker for Edmonton to go all the way, right? Then I'm all for it. And a game like tonight, I look at this team and see just how awful it was for them to get out and through that neutral zone. And I can't help but think of Cale Makar, who Carlson's no Cale Makar, although he's outpacing everybody in points, so maybe he is. And this, you got a guy like that, or somebody that can do two things. He's dangerous with the pass, but he's also capable of skating it out. That's how you beat that trap, right? Like, you need to have a guy that makes the guys give them space, because they don't want to be burnt, right? Like, that's anytime McDavid runs from the back end, I mean, people they're immediately going backwards because they don't want to get burned, right? And you need a guy on defense that can do that. Carlson's the closest match to that in my mind of everybody that's available, or potentially available. But my challenge still is Ken Holland. Like, he's I've gone, honestly, Kirk, I've gone through his trades about 20 times since the beginning of the season.
Do you think his son steps in and says, "Hey, you should do this, this, and this to try to make the money work"?
Talked into it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, whether his son is a more progressive thinker or not really doesn't matter. Ken Holland signs off on it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of the argument, right? Is Ken Holland's son will come in and get and do what needs to be done, but remember, Holland last year said that was his version of going for it last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
that means we're gonna like Gavrikov and like Lafferty, and that'll be about it. That'll be good enough.
Yeah, and maybe it is. Maybe you got Draisaitl and McDavid, and maybe people in Edmonton, because the media is starting to notice these guys, finally this year. It only took McDavid to hit 100 points in, how many games? Something they said could only be done if it was an all-Canadian division, right?
Yeah.
And he did it again. Like he's proven everybody wrong, and I think that the media is looking at that and saying maybe this guy can do it, right? Maybe this is the year for him. I'm not lying to you, Kirk. Like I'm listening to the guys around the league, and they're finally talking about the Oilers.
Yeah.
And it makes me uncomfortable because they never talk about the Oilers. So, maybe the
It's not in a positive light,
or something's happening. I don't know. Yeah, they never talk. Yeah, it's always negative. And finally talking about the Oilers around the league, and maybe this is it.
I asked my
Toronto and Boston.
Well, I just asked my dad there the other day. I said, "How crazy would it be to have an all-Canadian final, Toronto and Edmonton?" Like, I think Gary Bettman's head would explode live on national television because it's just.
Well, it's a sad state of affairs in a league where it's not a positive to have your best player, one of your best players of all time, in the final. Right? If that's in fact the case, I believe in the Gary Bettman, thing as well as I think most Canadian hockey fans. I suspect he's not as pro Canadian hockey as he is,
take a look at Arizona.
Yeah,
take a look at Arizona. Exactly. Example A, just.
But we need to be, we need to promote Connor McDavid.
Yeah,
promote this is a league that, like, at the All-Star game, I didn't get the feeling that, I still don't get the feel. Like, look at Connor Bedard in the WHL right now, like selling out junior hockey arenas.
Sold out the Saddle Dome.
Yeah,
the
Saddle Dome. Watch this kid play junior hockey.
Yeah.
That's the kind of momentum, the kind of stuff you need to be doing for Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason that whatever arena he goes to, he shouldn't sell out. LeBron James sells out arenas.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where he goes. In fact, I was going to go watch him in Toronto. I'm glad I didn't buy tickets because he was injured. But look, like, that guy, they promote the stars, and Connor McDavid's just not promoted outside of Canada.
How sad is that, though?
I would suggest, like, there was some discussion about who was the most known hockey player in the U.S. recently, and it wasn't Connor McDavid.
No, there was that huge map there, and I don't even think the Pittsburgh Penguins, like, generational. You talk about generational talents. There's Sidney Crosby. Like, nobody knows about him either. Really?
Yeah, I do think in some way he was a little bit more promoted, right? Like, I remember walking into what's the sports store in Dallas? Anyway, a sports shop in Dallas. I'll give Dallas all sorts of credit. Dallas, Texas is a great hockey market.
Mm-hmm.
And if, to me, if the NHL wanted to model hockey around a franchise in the U.S., like the Southern U.S., it's got to be Dallas.
Okay.
They, along with Dr. Pepper, have, I think, owned the rights or owned every arena in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Okay.
And you go, and if you want to play hockey, you're going to be part of the Dallas Stars sort of sphere of influence in Dallas. It's become a game. It's become a hockey market there. They push that. They make it accessible to everybody. They've done it from the grassroots level, right? Like, so you walk into a sports shop in Dallas, and there's hockey equipment in the sports shop, which I didn't expect. And the first jersey that you'd see would be Crosby, Sidney
Yeah.
Crosby. So he's promoted. But I'd tell you that probably half the people know who Crosby is, and less than half know who McDavid is. And more than likely because Crosby plays, south of the border.
Well, and you take a look like what Wayne did, to SoCal. He, same difference. Actually, through the entire Sun Belt. If it wasn't for Gretzky going south, Lord knows where the league would be here today. Probably still would expand, but be in the northern regions. It wouldn't be in the south. At least for the most part there. Anyways,
right.
you take a look at the kids coming out of Florida there too. Same difference.
Gretzky has something to do with the Arizona Coyotes too. So
yeah, there you go.
We can partially blame him for that monstrosity of an organization.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. All right. Let's talk a little bit more Oilers hockey and call it a night. It's pretty late out here on the East Coast. By the way, check out the new hats, Heavy Hockey hats. Got the new shirts too.
Sweet.
Yeah. It says they must be playing Hudson Bay Rules tonight. So if you know what Hudson Bay Rules are, actually former Oiler coach Trent Yanni is who they attributed the saying Hudson Bay Rules to. And for those that don't know, Hudson Bay Rules basically is no rules. It's just how
prison
you play it
rules
on the pond,
yeah.
Right? Yeah,
prison rules in basketball, same difference.
That's right. That's right. So Hudson Bay Rules. So a little bit of heavy hockey gear I'm wearing tonight, and which, by the way, will be up. There will be some, not this stuff I'm wearing. I don't want some pervert bidding on my sweaty clothes. So I'll put some new stuff into a bag, and anybody can go and bid. We're going to have those in the silent auction, and you can get yourself a heavy hockey hat. We'll have a couple different styles there, so pick one that you like. Pretty happy about that, and let's just chat a little bit more about the Oilers, and then we're going to call it a night. So the Oilers have now, after tonight's game, they are off to, they're off to Pittsburgh. Play in Pittsburgh. Early game for Edmonton fans, 5 p.m. Mountain on Thursday. And then Columbus. And then the big game, I think, which is maybe one of the more telling games of where the Oilers truly are, will be against Boston on the 27th.
Yep, definitely.
So the Oilers finished this stretch since last Tuesday, this 4-game stretch. They finished at 1-0-3, which is 5 out of a possible 8 points. It's actually not bad.
Yeah.
Right? I could take that.
Go on Twitter, though. You figured the sky is falling.
Yeah, well, it certainly does feel that way when it's like, the manner in which they lost. Thankfully, there's no shootouts in the playoffs.
No kidding.
The shootout.
Yeah, just
Are there
Leon
people
taking
that love the
clappers all day
shootout?
long.
Like, are there legit people that love the shootout?
I don't.
Yeah.
No.
Neither do I.
Give me 10 minutes of 3-on-3, and after that, I don't know. Go celebrity death match maybe after that. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. Just I love the 3-on-3.
I played in a rec league where they did 3-on-3 in overtime, but what they did was you couldn't change on a whistle, so you had to change on the fly.
On the fly, that's interesting. Yeah,
why not? Right,
yeah.
Like, great idea, right? I like the game will be over in 5 minutes. Like, somebody's going to get out there. Darnell Nurse looked like he was dead after being out there for 2 minutes tonight, right?
Yeah.
Imagine the skating you're doing in 3-on-3, and then you get caught out there. Like,
you definitely got endurance.
crawling to the crawling to the bench. Yeah. Not that the NHL's in the business of taking ideas from rec leagues out there, but still, it's not a bad idea. And anything to stop this monstrosity, this bastardization. I love, by the way, the bastard shirt you're wearing.
Thank you.
of the game, and what a terrible way. Like, it's just, by that time, you might as well roll the dice, right?
Do something, yeah. Do something.
Like half the guys missed the net anyway, right?
Yeah. No, it's pretty lame now, in my opinion. Anyways, most guys don't care. Like, it was prime example there, Leon there the other night. They're taking that clapper, like he just was wiped from overtime.
Yeah.
Like, what do you expect?
Now Woodcroft's got to read the body language, read the room.
Yeah.
Don't
Exactly.
send them out. But I don't. You know what? I don't care. Like, people on Twitter are getting all upset over who they picked in the shootout. Honestly, it doesn't matter, right? Like, it's by that point. Like, if you're not like Leon Draisaitl, like Connor McDavid, if anybody's going to be a good choice, like, you can't complain about putting them out there on the shootout. Two of the best players, in the league. Well, the best player in the league for sure, and then who knows where you put Draisaitl?
Number 3,
number 3, number 2, number 3,
number 2,
number
number
4.
3.
Who knows? Anyway, Leafs fans were saying he was 11 or 12 the other day. Leafs fans, by the way, are on a witch hunt for Saravalli. So.
Aren't they on a witch hunt for anybody?
Yeah. I mean, Oilers fans are no better. I was going to chirp about it because, look, Saravalli said it was a bad trade, the Ryan O'Reilly's trade. Well, he didn't say. He said, basically what he said is, this is the trade that Dubas. Now I can't get it.
Doofus. That's I call him Doofus.
This is the trade that Dubas, like, this is his trade, right? Like, it's the one that makes or breaks him, right? That was essentially what Saravalli said.
Yeah.
Kind of indicating, like, I wouldn't have made the trade, but if he wants to make that trade, it's not the deal breaker that Leafs needed. And so Saravalli is still trending in Canada on Twitter. And it is like, they just, like, they're out to get him. And so I was gonna chirp something about it because I thought, it's the Leafs, and I feel like trolling a few Leafs accounts every now and again. But the reality is if anybody said anything bad about the Oilers, even no matter how much we agree, like, it's like family, right? You say shit about family, and it doesn't matter who you are, you're done. And so if you said something about the Oilers, like Craig Button, I mean, he's trended in Edmonton how many times for saying some shit. And Oilers fans get upset, and so.
But that's what he's paid to do. He's paid to stir the pot,
Yeah. And I
live with it. Same thing with Saravalli. Like, he said, he even admitted it there on Stauffer's show. Yeah, I really don't care. I don't get offended by anything. Come at me. I don't care.
Well, and then O'Reilly, of course.
He's from Philly. He's from fucking Philly. You know how thick a skin you got to be from Philly? They hate everybody there. They hate Santa Claus.
I mean, he's trending on Twitter. I mean, shit. I don't know what you have to do to trend on Twitter. I'm not trending on Twitter. No,
should be.
Although, hey, Oilerslive Cup once trended on Twitter. Mr. Elliot Friedman himself retweeted one of my tweets for the Oilerslive Cup.
Nice.
Which is now, of course, the Heavy Hockey Showdown. What about that? I can't believe we've been in the show for 40 minutes now. You're a goalie guy, and you have not once brought up the I peed my pants when Skinner put his foot out as a pad out to make that save. And my biggest disappointment on the broadcast crew tonight was they didn't call that the turning point.
Yeah. No, it was just it was a great save, and that was it.
Yeah.
Jack
I
did
mean,
his
I
usual thing, and
literally
that was it.
I woke up the house. I'm watching the game, and then all of a sudden, my heart's racing. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was in.
My dad was fired up. I was hanging out watching with my dad there, and he was all fired up after that save. So,
Skinner.
and that takes a lot, to get him fired up nowadays. But yeah,
yeah. I mean, look, I love Jack Michaels. I'm a big fan of Louis DeBrusque, but that save, that's the turning point.
Yeah.
That was the one, right? That was what? That was the one that kept it 2-2, was it? Or was it
no,
kept it 3-2?
3-2, I do believe.
3-2.
Yeah.
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 I mean, that's what you need. I mean, how many years have I been screaming? Well, as long as I've been doing a podcast, I've been screaming that the Oilers need one big save.
They got it.
They got it tonight. They've been getting it actually from Soup too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? That's all you need a night is you need that one big save. This is a 1-goal league, right?
Pretty much.
And you get that one big save and you're golden.
You take a look at the other night there versus New York there, that save on VC, coming straight across, yard sale save there, and he got the cheater there on his glove, and and everybody just loved it in the crowd,
Absolutely.
So yeah. And
right.
everybody still harps on him afterwards because Colorado was you let on all those goals there at Colorado, and we need a new goaltender.
Let's have Grant Fuhr on the show. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Widely considered to be one of the best goalies, Hall of Famer. It's all right. But how many times he let in 4 goals?
Plenty
Enough. Every game, right? Yeah,
pretty much.
And that's just it's a 1-goal. It's a 1-goal league, and you get that one big save, and you're golden. All right, I think that's we've talked enough tonight. It's late, 2:00 here in Halifax, and it's time to say goodnight. If you also little shortage on listeners tonight that are staying up late to watch the Late Show. Or they're tuning into Fallon or somebody rather than listening to Fallon. Doubtful. They're coming to see us.
That's right.
Coming to see us. This is where the action is. All right. The usual. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks for listening. If you're listening in on the podcast later, the recording. Appreciate that. Would love likes and subscriptions, of course. If you get to youtube.ca/heavyhockey, let's get this thing done. And then on another note, still got a few tickets left for our watch party, which is the event that we're having after the Heavy Hockey Showdown. We'll be sitting in the first round downtown Edmonton watching the Winnipeg Jets take on the Edmonton Oilers in the second half of back-to-back. Should be an exciting game. As will the Heavy Hockey Showdown should be an exciting game. And that's happening all March 4th. And then March 3rd, actually, we're going to be at the game. So if you intend on being at the game, let me know. Would love to meet up with people from around the Twitterverse or YouTube or wherever. I'll be at the game with 20 of my closest friends and watching the Oilers take on the Winnipeg Jets at Rogers. Outside of that, I got nothing more tonight. I'm getting a little bit, to be honest, sleepy. I could use a little bit of a nap, evening nap, 2 a.m. nap. How about you? You ready for the last word?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, you take it away again. Thanks everybody for listening. Follow me at Oilers Live. Follow Kirk at KMWrites1 on Twitter. Make sure you like and subscribe. As always, my guests get the last word. I put myself on mute, and I will see you again next Tuesday.
Well, thanks again for having me on here, Michael. Always a pleasure. Check out all the content on heavyhockey.com. I'm currently writing an article on the next ones. Basically, it's a little brief article for the Canadian talent coming after Connor Bedard, talent pipeline there in the junior leagues coming up, and hopefully we'll be doing another Paddle Down podcast here. Hopefully by the end of the week. Thanks to everybody checking out. Like I said, great content. Check out everything on heavyhockey.com. The Heavy Hockey Showdown is March the 4th, as Michael said. Great cause for SACE. Other than that, thanks again. Good night.